right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing? I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stop tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stop. It's called Better Futures, a stop for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who could change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I am your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better, and kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
They'll challenge your authority. They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch. Until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is like busy, you know? I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Cause that's the bottom line for Stone Cold Simpson.
Everybody dies.
Because I'm better than
Lyle Gillen.
Whoa. Oh, there we go. Hey, we're all here. The gang's all here. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the only wrestling talk show here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome to Off the Mat, joining you every single Friday from 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time till 6:50 Eastern Standard Time. Of course, we say 6:50 because coming up right after us is Weapons Hot, a New York Jets show with CJ and the gang. So they'll be gone right after us, following us right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome, my team. Of course, as always, first up, Mr. Alex Lowe's got a big smile on his face. He seems happy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I enjoyed that GCW pay-per-view. I can't wait to get into that later. We have AEW Beach Break. We got Royal Rumble preview. So stick around. It's going to be a great show.
It is, and it doesn't seem like we have a lot of topics, but on the surface, it's a lot to discuss, a lot to digest.
Oh, yeah.
And we have a man that was at the GCW show last Sunday, so he's going to give his take on it. I'm sure it's a different perspective being at the show than watching it on television. It's two very different perspectives. Mr. Lyle Gillen, how you doing, sir?
I am wonderful.
There we go. I was gonna wait. I was waiting for you to finish. You know, I was gonna say I don't think you're going to the Honor game tomorrow because you're getting how much X amount of snow.
Like
I mean, God bless you if you
inches?
try to go.
If I'm gonna play it by ear. If our roads are plowed, I'm gonna go.
Good for you.
If
God bless you.
they're not, I'm gonna cry.
And really
Most
quick,
likely they won't be though, because they always do our road a little S.
which is crazy because you know what it is. Really quick before I get to the show, and I don't know if our guest is in just yet. I don't know, is he in yet, Alex, or not yet? Right?
Not yet.
Okay, so we have some time. Really quick, because it's interesting where I live. So Lyle and I both live in Suffolk County. Alex, this doesn't pertain to you. You live in Florida. You don't even sniff snow, so it is what it is. You think 55 degrees is chilly in Florida, so you know. So what they do is it's interesting. A lot of people and a lot of folks, they get paid in the area when they put plows on their trucks. They get paid by the county to plow the roads. Now, I have like 6 neighbors of mine that do that, and they already have the plows on their trucks. So our roads are constantly getting plowed every single like few minutes, which is kind of frustrating because when you're shoveling, I mean, I have the snowblower. So for me, whenever I'm doing it, I finish the job and then the driveway gets covered again because somebody plows the snow back into the driveway. So I'm just like, mother, you know what I'm saying? Like I have to do it every few minutes. So tomorrow is going to be interesting. There's some are saying 5 to 8, some are saying 8 to 12, some are
They're saying we're gonna get like 3 to 5 tonight, and then we're gonna get like either like 8 to like 20 tomorrow.
Yay!
I kind of want 2 feet really bad, but I want.
Let me ask you this, Lyle.
I want to know what my dog is gonna do when he sees.
Let me ask you this, because you live at home with your parents. Do you shovel the snow, or do you say
we have
you're
a snowblower now? We have a snowblower now.
Good, smart. That's what we did. We bought a snowblower during the summer.
But I did shovel in the past.
Yeah, I made that mistake last year. So Lyle's been to my house. The size of my driveway it's massive. So for me, it's very wide. So what I have to do, I mean, like we shoveled the first year and we said we can never do this again because we were the only idiots on the block that didn't have a snowblower. While everybody else in our neighborhood had one. So we got one over the summer. It's smart. I find it especially when you become a homeowner, you buy things out of season. Because what you're doing is you're going to get it at a much cheaper price. But people were looking at me like, you're buying a snowblower in the summer. Yeah, because that's the cheapest it's going to be. Because when you buy it in December, it's going to be really expensive or they're going to be really hard to find. Like, I bet you there's not a lot of snowblowers in stock now. Like, so to me, I find it that, like, I bought my barbecue in November of last year or 2 years ago. Whenever I got the house, I bought it in November. So for me, I found it very interesting to buy things out of season, out of date, kind of. You get it at a better price. Now the store looks at you like you got 20 heads on because the stuff you want is all the way at the top of the roof. Do you know what I'm saying? So they have to get that down. Lyle's in. Don't worry. He I think something like that. So, but yeah. So We also have a guest coming on, Cassidy Haynes. He's going to be joining us in a few minutes whenever he's ready to come on. But before we get to that, I want to tell you how you can listen to our show every single week, along with other shows such as Weapons Hot, us, Off the Mat. You can listen to The Wise Guys, The Ryan Hickey Show, Sports Loudmouths, all different programs, the betting show, everything that we have here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Here's what you do. If you have an iPhone, you go to the Apple Store, you type in WWSRN. If you have an Android, you go to the Google Play Store, you type in Worldwide Sports, you click install. And what that does is it's a free app. Everything on there, you don't have to pay for anything. You get all the show articles, the show schedules, all of our great content that we have on there. If you want to re-listen to a show or re-watch a show, you can watch it again on the video clips, or if you want to watch the whole show, if you're driving, you can listen to the audio feed as well. We're also on Alex's stream is a little slow right now, so
yeah,
that fixed. There we go. I think Alex is still using America Online, possibly. That could be why it's slow.
No, or somebody's streaming in the house.
Oh, go yell at them. That's what I do.
That's so I mean,
I've
like,
turned it off with my parents before.
I think he's still on AOL. You know, remember when you like back in the day when he used to pick up the phone and then they would go goodbye, and then it would do that. Like my dad used to work from home sometimes, and I'd pick up the phone. I was like 7, and my dad would just sign my dad off in the middle of like a meeting. He'd be like, God, so you know what I'm saying? So it was like all connected. But also check us out, worldwidesportsradio.com. And Alex will plug this in a minute. I'm glad Lyle was back. I know this is a wrestling show, but you know we are sports fans, and Lyle and I are, and Alex to some extent are huge hockey fans. I know Lyle's a big Islander fan, and we had a massive loss to the hockey world a couple of days ago, and I wanted to give my respect to the loss of Clark Gillies a few days ago, passing away. I know Lyle was a big Clark Gillies fan. And everything like that. And like I said, out of respect, even though I am a Ranger fan, that doesn't change the fact that Clark Gillies meant so much. Winning those 4 Stanley Cups in a row, I don't think any team is ever going to do that again. Of course, you had that core of Clark Gillies, Mike Bossy, Dennis Potvin, Billy Smith. I'm sure I'm missing other guys as well. There were so many guys. I mean, my dad is a huge Bruins fan. Lyle knows this. My dad used to go to the Coliseum all the time, and he used to see Clark Gillies beat the crap out of what's his name, Willie I believe Willie O'Reilly,
Willie O'Reilly.
Yeah, he used to beat the crap out of him. And
you're
my dad
now
was saying
saying
that the other day.
that your dad, one memory is of Clark Gillies beating the shit out of one of the most significant black guys in hockey.
Yeah, I know. No, that wasn't it. No. I would say the biggest significant thing my dad ever saw was when Mike Milbury went into the stands at Madison Square Garden. He was at that game, and my dad was there, and my dad told my godfather, "We need to get the hell out of here now," because he was only a few sections away from when that was happening. So my dad said, "We need to leave." So that was his biggest hockey memory. But he used to always see Clark Gillies beat the crap out of the Bruins. And
I wish somebody shanked Mike Milbury. Islander history was way different.
But of course,
pull out a knife, stab him right in the stomach, and watch him bleed to death. That would be great.
That Islander team was extremely special, of course, with Al Arbor leading the charge as the head coach, one of the greatest head coaches of all time in the NHL. So that was a very special team, and I wanted to give thoughts and prayers and condolences to the Gillies family, to the hockey, the hockey world out there, to all the fans that really enjoyed watching Clark Gillies play. He was a very special player. And that core was a very special unit that won 4 straight Stanley Cups. I believe got to, was it 5 in a row? They lost that 5th one to Edmonton. That was a very special team. I don't think it's ever going to be duplicated again because it's extremely hard to do that. Now we never know what the Tampa Bay Lightning, what they're going to do.
They could throw Kucherov on long-term IR again.
They're going to put him on IR again, and they're going to get somebody at the deadline, and they're going to improve their bottom 6 because that's what Tampa needs to do because they miss Goudreau and those guys on the bottom 6, Tampa, but they're doing just fine. But, like I said, thoughts and prayers and condolences with the Gillies family and the hockey family as well for a tremendous loss. And if you are a Ranger fan, check out, like I said, go check out the game tonight at the Henrik Lundqvist retirement ceremony. This is something that doesn't happen very often, especially in New York. Unless you're the New York Yankees, who literally retire every single number of a player that, even though the player wasn't even a Hall of Fame caliber player, they retire that number anyway. It's very rare that players get their numbers retired. And say what you want about Madison Square Garden does do it as well as any ceremony. They really do, and I think Lundqvist is going to get his rightful place tonight. I'll be the first to tell you I was not a Lundqvist guy.
Islanders did 2 years ago.
What happened?
Islanders retired 2 years
Yeah, that's
ago.
what I'm saying. It's been happening a little more frequently, like the Mets. So the Mets are going to retire Keith Hernandez this coming year. It's happening a little bit more. And I'll be the first to tell you, I was not a Lundqvist guy. I was one of the first guys to say that they should have traded Lundqvist and kept Cam Talbot. I had a lot of pushback on that.
I agree with that.
But
that was reasons.
But Lundqvist, when the numbers go down, the numbers are he will go down as one of the greatest goalies to ever play the game. The numbers should speak for itself. And we'll see going forward. How the ceremony. I'm recording it, so I'm not gonna be able to watch it live. But I know my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law are both there tonight. My mother-in-law is one of the biggest Lundqvist fanatics out there. I used to fight with her all the time about him and Talbot. And now I fight with her about Shesterkin and Lundqvist. But it's going to be a special night at the Garden. And it's good that more teams are doing it now. The Islanders are doing it more. The Rangers are now doing it. The Mets are doing it more. We knew when Steve Cohen took over that more numbers, that the Met history was going to be utilized more. Because we hear the Wilpons, they didn't even try. So it would be nice to see that. But like I said, I don't know. Is he in yet or he's not in yet?
No, I sent him a message. He said he never got it, but I sent him the link.
Okay. So. All right. So we'll get to him in a few minutes. Alex, if you
sent him the link.
Also, again. I didn't tell you, we're also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch. We're on every single social media platform out there. If you have a comment.
Wait, what is our beautiful website? Maybe Alex can go over that.
That's exactly what I was going to do. I was going to let Alex now plug in the website because he loves doing it.
So the Off the Mat website is available in our Twitter. Our Twitter is at Off the Mat WWSRN. You click on the link in our description. It'll take you to the website where you will get access to our upcoming pay-per-views and shows scheduled for 2022 for all the major wrestling shows and pay-per-views. A show archive, which you can get access to all of our replays of every episode. An Anchor FM archive special guest interview page with all the guests that we have had on Off the Mat, and the ACW American Combat Wrestling page where you can check out one of the events that I did some photo shoots on. And also there's a contact page if you want to contact us directly from our Gmail.
And we're going straight through tonight, by the way. There will be no commercial breaks. So if the guys have to get up and do something, by all means. I'm sure my son's going to be crying every now and then. So usually during the break when it happens, I sit him down for a minute and then I come back. But I think,
and then we have an update on our guest. So I sent him the link again. He said he'll give me a few. I'll jump on in a sec.
Okay. So you know what? So that's fine. So Cassidy will join us in a few minutes. Cassidy Haynes, who's the owner of BioSlam.net. He's the co-host of The Push. It's a podcast on BioSlam.net. He's going to join us in a couple of minutes. It's a big get for us. He's one of the best in the business. So he will pop on. Let's start with GCW. And let's start with how the show went over the weekend. I'll let Lyle go first because he was there, and we want to get his perspective on what it was like being there and everything like that. So what were your thoughts on the show this past weekend? What was it like being at Hammerstein? And did it feel like a real GCW show? Did it feel like there were things that were missing? Because I want to read a Brett Lauderdale statement afterwards that he posted on Twitter.
That's tough to say. Did it feel like a real GCW show? Because most GCW shows are little tiny places where you're all right on top of each other. It's not like an actual arena like that was. So it was definitely a little bit different, but the crowd, I would say, was the same. But I thought it was a great show. That was probably the most fun I've had in a very, very long time at a wrestling show.
Wow. What was the energy like when Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green came out? What was your reaction to that?
That was awesome.
Wasn't even the best intro.
Huh?
Wasn't even the best intro.
No.
No, it wasn't.
I did start She Fucked Joey. I started that chant. That was great. I don't know if you heard it on TV.
I did hear it actually.
But I started that. That was amazing. I also started Fuck Bully Ray. And that became a huge thing. I'll give credit to Scott, who was on our show before. He definitely helped me get it started, but
yeah, I could see Scott doing that.
I came up with the chant. I tried starting it, and then he helped joined in, and it got bigger. But yeah, it went how big that chant got. That was probably so cool. Because then Bully Ray went and commented on it. He said some cocky douchebag thing about it.
Yeah.
But you know what? Everyone there, they all agreed. Honestly, fuck Bully Ray for what he said about how John Moxley should apologize for missing time. And I think Bully Ray should apologize for being a douchebag.
Alex, what were your thoughts on the show in general? And after you're done, I'm going to read the Brett Lauderdale statement, which is an interesting statement that he posted.
I thought the show was very well done. The production was great, especially on how it was being produced on Fight TV. And then some of my favorite matches were Blake Christian against Leo Rush. I thought that match was great technically because they both have similar styles in the ring, and you could just tell that they had that unique chemistry in the ring during that match.
Luchador match was awesome too.
The crowd was a little bit dead for it because it was right after the Lucha match. But yeah, that was great. Honestly, my favorite thing about the entire show was Nick Gage and everything about Matt Cardona right now. I think he is probably one of the best heels today. He's just so good. He's doing great. Probably doing the best work he's ever done.
I agree with you on that. I mean, for me, I was a big fan of the Effie Jeff Jarrett match. I thought the Jeff Jarrett intro was fantastic.
Oh, it was
awesome.
Very well done.
I got to give him props for what he is doing at his age.
I mean, he looks to be in great shape.
By far.
He looks happy. He looked relaxed. And
I have to say, that was the second best angle he has ever been in. The first one is Karen.
The Last Outlaw? Oh, well, you know. And I thought Effie was perfect, too. I mean, I love Effie. I mean, how can you not? Effie is a guy that really has come from, he's come a long way.
Hold on. Alex is from the South. I don't think he likes Effie.
Oh, would you stop it?
He's also very, very religious, so I don't think he likes Effie.
Well, I mean, Alex might have a different...
Alex, why don't you speak on that? As a very Christian man who's from the South, how do you feel about Effie?
Effie's cool. I have no problem with Effie.
See, there you go.
Okay, Speedy, record that for all future incidences when we might need it.
So, let me read... I want to read this. This is a very interesting, and then I'll give my thoughts on the GCW show because I have an interesting perspective on it. And Lau and I, we were talking a few days ago about it. So Brett Lauderdale, the owner of GCW, wrote, "Sunday was a smash hit business-wise for GCW. All records shattered, and it's not even close. But I'm not happy at all. I feel like I let a lot of people down, got played, and I should have known better. Big time learning experience. Gonna work harder than ever to get a second chance."
You know what?
Lyle, I start with you first. What do you think he means by this?
I have absolutely no idea. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask Cassidy Haynes when he comes on because I don't know.
I mean, because to me, and before
I feel like something else happened.
It could be
negative reception.
It could be something where something else happened. It could
maybe the end of the match,
possibly time wise. Alex, you go. What do you think it means?
It might have something to do with the tag match. It could.
I think it's a few things. I think it's the time restrictions.
That
because
too.
that main event was a cluster. You know what?
Yeah, it was.
Very rushed.
It felt rushed.
Let's be real here. You had Nick Gage and you had the Briscoes in there. Those guys did not even come close getting to do what they would usually do. But again, it felt very rushed, right? Like this was. We saw, and I was talking to Lyle. He called me on the way home, and I said that felt very rushed. And he said, "Yeah." And Lyle said, "I think it was because of time restrictions." Which,
I originally thought that it was probably a screw up, but then I remembered I looked at my phone right afterwards, and it was 11:59. So it was definitely because of time restrictions. I know the lucha match went over by a lot, from what I was told, because my friend was working rig crew. And he told me that he was told that match went over big time. So that is definitely a big contributor to why it happened. I'm not sure if any other matches went over, but that one definitely did.
It felt like it was going on for a while, especially seeing it on Fight TV.
I think I have a feeling the Leo match went over. Maybe not by much, but I think it might have went over a little bit.
Because Catch Ruby felt short too.
Yeah.
All right. So my thoughts on the show were this. Lyle obviously was there, and it was a different perspective because the fans were still the same, the announcers were still the same, the wrestlers.
By the way,
Enel
is amazing. I love him. I think he's one of the best ring announcers in all of
I think he's great. He's fantastic. And he has so much energy too.
What he does to announce with Nick Gage is Nick Gage. I'm sorry.
I was saying that's an actor.
It's probably one of the coolest entrances ever, and you have to experience it as a wrestling fan.
I thought to get all of Jeff Jarrett's accolades and to remember all that was pretty damn impressive. That
was actually.
There were parts of me where it did not feel like a GCW show. Obviously, when you think of GCW, you think of light tubes, tables, death match, blah, 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 blah.
They can't do it in New York.
And therein lies the problem.
Yep.
They were so restricted for what they can do. And that's why, to me, it partially felt like a letdown to me. You know, John Draper, who we found a guest, said the same thing. It felt like a letdown to him.
We have to get him back on.
And to me, I kind of felt the same way after the show. Because I knew they were going to have restrictions in New York. But I didn't know the extent of the restrictions. I mean, you had to have thought there wasn't a single death match on the card.
No.
So you had to have known right away, boy, there's going to be a lot. I mean, how many chairs and what was and doors did they use that night?
They used a few in the Cardona match.
That is all they could use were doors and chairs and a ladder or two that probably I have from Home Depot. That was all that they can use that night.
I wonder why New York has those restrictions, though. That's really dumb.
I guess maybe due to I guess.
You
have to remember it took them forever to get UFC okayed here, and it took them forever to get sports betting okay here. So obviously, to me, actually, you know, and let's get him on right now. So we're gonna add him on, and I want to give him the proper introduction. So whenever we pop him on, I will introduce him. There he is. He's popping on. There he is with this wonderful GCW hat we were just talking about. He's the owner of bodyslam.net, and he's the co-host of The Push on bodyslam.net. It's a great podcast. If you haven't listened to it, go check it out. And this has been a get that we've been wanting for a while now, and we finally got him on, the great and powerful Mr. Cassidy Haynes. How you doing, sir?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Good to see you guys, man. Sorry about running late, fashionably late. My bad. Sorry.
You're fashionably late. So the key word is fashionably. So you win that one. Okay, so there you go.
I figured I'd wear my fresh new GCW swag for the weekend. I got my World on GCW hoodie that I grabbed at the show and the beanie.
I got that too. It's very comfortable.
Yeah,
and
it's
you
not
still
bad.
have a shirt for me, Lyle, that you bought me. I got to get that from you, the GCF and W shirt. I still got to get that from you. But And we were just talking about it, Cassidy. We were just getting into GCW. Some of us had different perspectives because Lyle was at the show. Obviously, you were at the show. Alex and I were watching the show from home. I was supposed to go to the show, but I have my newborn at home, and with COVID and stuff, I wasn't able to go and everything like that. What were your thoughts on the GCW show as a whole? Did it feel like a GCW show to you? Because when I think of GCW, I think of deathmatch and light tubes, I think, but New York has so many restrictions. What were your thoughts?
Well, see, that's the kind of the misconception I think that the company has with people too, is like everybody assumes it's just light tubes and death matches, but man, that's really like just a part of what you get with GCW, and they're the first to tell you that it's like you'll get everything. You get a little bit of everything. You're going to get your technical wrestling, your high flying wrestling. You're going to get lucha style. You're going to get tag team, great tag team action. Going to bring nostalgia pops in like they do with everybody. Then you're going to get your deathmatch stuff. So I mean, even though they couldn't do light tubes and intentional blood, I think they still did a good job of hitting all the points that they usually cover with their show and doing it as best they can. And it had more of an ECW feel because of the building, I think, too, because there was a lot of like, pay tributes to stuff there. But no, I mean, I thought it was very
wins we riot instead of like John Cena wins we riot.
Yeah, and they brought that the Joey Janela match was an ECW booked match like none other. You know what I mean? So I enjoyed it, and the atmosphere is really what it is about a GCW show. And who else was there? Alex, were you there?
I was.
I was not there.
Okay.
I met you there.
Yeah, that's right, dude. I met so many people and I was drunk. I don't know. You saw me. I was having a good time.
I love your honesty.
Yeah. And like most people had masks on too, so I had a hard time being like, "So, how's it going, everybody?" You don't only see this much of everybody's faces, and then being like, "Hey, yeah, that was fun. That was awesome." But no, yeah, I mean, it was a little different. They worked with what they had, and they had some issues with the athletic commission, which I don't know if you guys talked about all that yet and what happened with that, but they did the best they could, and I think they did a good job.
And before I allow now, so I wanted to ask you, how are you and your family doing? Obviously COVID and everything going around and everything. One and two, I don't know if we were talking about the Brett Lauderdale statement that he made on Twitter. I don't know. So you did read it. So I'm sure.
About how he
got screwed and he felt like something.
He got played or whatever.
So we wanted to get, because we're trying to figure out the hell does he mean? Because you know how Brett can be. Brett can be kind of.
There's a little inside baseball there. I mean, if you saw Joey Janela's tweets too about, he was kind of referencing it. Is apparently somebody called the athletic commission on him and told him that there was underage performers on the show. So that's why Nick Wayne didn't get to work, Billy didn't get to work, and they had to do a bunch of changes with that. When technically there's not even a law. Bix pulled this up. Bix and Span did some research and looked. There's really not even a law that says that, because it's not listed as a combative sport or whatever. So it's performance. So it's not really a combative sport. So technically they could have actually performed. So the threats or whatever were pretty much just bullshit, I think. So he ended up having to pull some people when they shouldn't have been pulled. And apparently there's been some, I mean, I'm not going to say, I'll tell you guys off the air who pretty much they assume it is, and they know who it is if you guys don't know, but I'm not going to do it on air because I'm not going to get in trouble by this guy for slander because he's a sewer.
You can always, we have the private chat thing too.
I'll do it right here then.
Private chat thing.
Bam, there you go.
How are you and your family doing with everything with COVID and stuff going around and everything like that? I mean,
my family's been good. We had it before. My mom had it in my family, so we had COVID before Christmas. I came back fine with it. I tested when I got home. I came back fully expecting to have like all 21 variants of COVID or whatever. Because I was like, yeah, I'm going to come back just.
And there's going to be 21 more coming out in 2022. Yeah. You watch.
So yeah, I definitely was expecting it and came back fine. I mean, I was good to go, and I didn't really do much other than just wear the mask, wash my hands and stuff. But I know people that came back with COVID too, and they did a lot less. They were a lot more careful than I was. I was smoking weed with people and drinking with people. I didn't give a shit, man. I was going to eating chopped steaks at New York chopped cheeses at 3 a.m. at these most like sketchy looking corner stores.
Did you go to the after party?
Oh yeah, at the strip club. You know it, brother.
Let me tell you something. I'll send you my address. You can ship me that weed whenever you want to. By the way,
hey, it's legal in New York, brother. I was just like, I went out the front door of the hotel and walked across the street and was like, yeah, give me a little bit of that, and I'll take some of these edibles. It's awesome. In New York,
I went to get blood work done the other day, and I walked out of my doctor's office. It's in the city, and I walk out. And I go, it's like it just had the odor of weed. And the guy's like, yeah, you want some? And it was the guy just smoking right out of my doctor's office. And I'm like, I got a newborn. I can't, man. Like, I'm holding my son. And he's on the carrier. I'm like, no, I can't really take weed right now, dude.
It was insane over there. We walked outside. We were outside the venue afterwards and like catching a buzz, smoking outside the front, literally right outside the front of the Manhattan Center. And with some of the wrestlers and some of my friends and stuff. And two police officers come like, can we get pictures with you guys? Like while we're all smoking, and they're like, can I hit that? And I'm like,
they can't arrest you anymore.
They hit it. Some of the cops hit it. I was like, that's awesome. Yeah. So I was like, well, this is totally different than where I'm from, where like I'm not even allowed to go to Canada because of prior weed charges. So New York is awesome. I say anybody go there. It was fun. But no, the show was great, man. If you went, I think you had a good time. I think the people. I mean, I don't know if anybody I've talked to that didn't. I mean, the atmosphere was incredible, and I don't know. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Go for it, Lyle.
Well, that was my first live GCW show. Mm-hmm. First one being there, and I loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you. So I was told a couple of matches went over. So what the Lucha match did. Now,
the first ladder match, way over. Like 10, 15, almost 10, 15 minutes over. And then from there on, it just progressively got worse and worse. So also, though, because I got told, I was talking to everybody, too, that you'd think that the last match, they had to have cut a bunch of spots out. Mm-hmm. They ran through all their spots in the last match. They didn't cut anything out of the match. They just fucking marathon, train rolled right through it. But I think they cut some stuff out of the tag match or the ladder match still, and it was long. So because PCO said that there was some stuff they cut out, and I know from talking to people that that match was the one that was going really long. But of course, the Lucha match went a little long too, and but that was just because I mean, they're already behind from that, so they were already running, trying to catch up. But yeah, there was some time issues, but that happens when you're working for the first time on a hard cut at 11. They had that's the first time they ever had to be off the air hard cut at 11. So they did pretty good though. They got everything in for the most part.
Go for it, Alex.
So my question is about AEW and the possibility of Santana and Ortiz splitting away and jumping ship away from the Inner Circle. What did you think about the past 2 weeks when you've seen Santana and Ortiz kind of like defend themselves and defend Eddie Kingston, yes, defending Eddie Kingston as well. What were your thoughts on that? And do you think they will eventually jump over and have a form LAX in the next couple weeks in AEW?
That appears to be what they're laying the groundwork for and foreshadowing. But you never know. They've done that a few times with tease and break up.
Uh-oh. Did he freeze?
Of groups and then
there we
go. I popped up for a second. Did I come back? There we go. Sorry. Yeah. They've done it a couple times where they tease. Yeah, they tease breaks, but then they don't ever do it. But this seems to be one that I feel like is coming.
But really quick,
and if you notice, like Hager didn't even come out. There wasn't a lot of solidarity as the group because nobody even came out for Sammy, did they? Other than
no one came out.
It seems that they haven't been coming out like to help each other out as frequently as they used to. It just
and where is Hager? He vanished.
Yeah, I wonder where he went.
Yeah, I don't know. Has he got a fight coming up or something? Does he got a Bellator fight coming up? I haven't really checked. I just realized
Cassie, I got to ask you a question first off. Is that a Bojangles cup that you have?
I live in the South, man. I live in Asheville, North Carolina.
And I knew what it was right away. I knew
North Carolina's. We're famous for that down here in North Carolina, man.
So my question is, I just want to bring it back to GCW really quick. Yeah. Like I said, we might be all over with AEW and GCW and everything like that, but Lyle and I, we were talking after the show was over. He called me asking what I thought of the show and everything like that, and then I asked the question. I said, "Do you think?" And I also texted Lyle this. He and I need to do an AC show over the summer at some point.
Oh, you have to.
He's like, that's where everything, like that's where it all goes down in Atlantic City. But I'd rather go during the summertime when the weather's warmer and stuff like that. And it's not 20 degrees, but. Do you see them going back to Hammerstein? Do you see them going back to New York, or do you think this is something like?
Oh, I think they'll
want.
learn from this experience. I don't see why they wouldn't go back. I mean, they sold that building out, dude.
I was gonna say they made bank on it. Monedale made a lot of bank on
and
it.
all he knows now is like he's learned from that experience, and that GCW does a good job of addressing their issues of where they need growth and doing it. Because like Brett's, like you saw him, he said, I had some shortcomings here, and I did some things wrong. And if you can admit that you did some things wrong, you know that you need to fix it. So I mean, I don't see there being any reason why they wouldn't go back, especially if they know what they can do better, or what they can do differently. But talking to everybody, after the show and hanging out with everybody, nobody had anything negative to say about the experience. I would definitely, I wouldn't expect them to have bigger eyes than the Hammerstein too, So, I mean, there's no reason to say they couldn't do a bigger venue than that. But yeah, I definitely don't see them staying away from that venue. It's probably going to happen again, I would say. Yeah. Why not? Right. You sold that thing out in 2 days. And you had what? How many pay-per-view buys was it on iPay-per-view they had? Like that fight touted it as being like their biggest one ever. So that it was a success. So there's no reason not to do it again if you can. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't. Yeah.
We're talking to the owner of bodyslam.net, Cassidy Haynes, joining us. Really glad that he's on with us. So let Lyle ask the next question.
Now I might get you in trouble for this question. So if you don't
we'll
want
try. If I can say it, I can't. If I can't answer it, I can't answer it. But I'll try my best.
Hey, I don't want you losing your credentials again for.
Yeah, I got him back. I got him back.
But my question is: a while back, Tony Khan said in an interview that he signed another ace, and they're in North America. Who is that?
Man, I haven't heard anything yet, other than I've heard of some tag teams. There's a tag team that should be debuting soon. I think everybody can generally expect. You know what that would be. They may or may not have lost some titles this weekend. So the Briscoes supposedly have signed. I've heard that they had signed a while back.
Make it happen, man. Like, let's go.
I mean, maybe it means that, but I mean, there's a lot of people that a lot of people that aren't on TV aren't coming back, and a lot of new people are coming in. So they're, telling what he could mean on that one, honestly. But I've been fully expecting to see Gargano and the Briscoes at any time. But Gargano I don't know as much about, but I've heard from numerous people that the Briscoes are supposed to.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, this whole thing with FTR has gotten so.
And that's not going to. Everybody was expecting that the pay per view. That would never have happened on the pay per view for GCW.
That's going to be on Khan's dime if that happens.
Yeah, especially since he supposedly had signed them before he sent FTR to Ring of Honor to even do that angle. So I mean, he was setting that angle up for his own TV, obviously. So.
Is when or will it ever happen? Will Ibushi ever come over?
Man, I would love to see more New Japan guys come over, and you'd think that that's they got a good working relationship. Being as that, how they've had in the past with Suzuki and everybody. So yeah, I would love to see more of that. I haven't heard anything with that on that end as far as New Japan stuff. Honestly,
go for it, Alex.
So my next question is about the AEW women's division. So this week, to me, felt like there was a lack of storytelling focus. And who on the roster do you think could get the fans' attention in more in depth into these storylines for the women's roster? To me, I feel like Mercedes Martinez could be the right choice. I feel like if they put her in the right direction, in the right feud, where they have her with Thunder Rosa.
They got her with Thunder Rosa, and that was who I was going to say. Like Thunder Rosa, if you go to an AEW show, that Thunder Rosa pop is like the new Legion of Doom pop, the new Road Warrior pop. It's huge. It's insane. And it was like that at Hammerstein. When she showed up at Hammerstein.
When Lau and I went to the show at the AEW at Grand Slam, she did the dark match.
I was getting waters for everybody for other podcasts during that, and I was like, oh shit! And because I just heard the roof blow off the place. And Thunder Rosa, she's a friend of mine too, so she definitely was giving me shit online about missing that match. But I got to see her this last weekend. She did great at Hammerstein, and that's who is going to help with the women's division, I think, because she's your biggest star there right now. But they're doing a good job. They're working around it. But Layla's doing great stuff too. I mean, they're doing a good job storytelling with Layla and Red Velvet in that program right now. They're doing a little bit more, they're working some stuff in. They only have so much time too. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to get everything in with. I think they do a lot more storytelling with those divisions on the Elevation and Dark than they do with on Dynamite. But they're getting there. They're learning. It's apparently it's a learning curve for everybody too. Tony was talking about that. His women's division's been an issue. You've heard people critique about that. So we'll just see what he does. But yeah, I think Thunder Rosa. I mean, she's like you said, is Mercedes Martinez, and Thunder Rosa. That's a money program right there, and they started it on TV, so it's about time to bring it back, right?
Absolutely.
Two different. It's gonna be two questions, two different companies. I'm gonna throw them at you. One, obviously GCW.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love the Jeff Jarrett stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Last Outlaw stuff. I love his intro with the way the old kind of TNA theme song, but kind of remixed a little bit. I think him beating Effie was fine. Effie doesn't need to win. You know how Effie is. He's kind of it carries on the I guess the rivalry, right? Because he's eventually going to get that win because that's how Effie has always been, right? He's the underdog and everything.
Effie's smart too. Effie knows.
He's
a money feud.
His what is it? He's doing that. Effie's, I think it's Effie's Gay Brunch that he's doing, that's gonna get a lot of money.
He does those a lot. I mean, this is what the fourth one or third one of these.
Yeah, I believe the third one, and the first two were good. This one's gonna be a massive hit. But what programs do you expect Jeff Jarrett to continue being in GCW? And two, it's with WWE, and I just, this rumor makes me sick. I want to squash this rumor already. Please, can we shut it down? Okada's not showing up for the Royal Rumble. Can we please shut this down?
No.
Who started that?
Please.
I have.
Who said that?
That's as much far fetched as you could get. That's a stretch. If besides Impact, I don't see him bringing in anybody else really that anybody would know other than people from Impact that have worked with him before. You know what I mean? I got told by somebody that if you were even not to even expect anybody from AEW other than maybe a Jericho, but that's as much of a reach as you're going to get there too.
I mean, he did do the podcast with Austin, but again, I don't know if Austin. I mean, I know he does the WWE Network, but I don't know if that's technically a partnership with Austin.
Yeah, so I think that's as close as you're going to get to. And everybody expecting Cody, maybe thinking Cody because he's working on a handshake deal. Like, I don't see that being
Which, by the way, I want to rephrase this: a handshake deal does not mean you're not getting paid. A handshake deal is still getting paid.
He's getting paid per appearance, and probably the same thing he was working out as his appearances before. You know what I mean? Whatever, it broke down to per time he was on TV. I'm sure it's probably structured the same way now going forward. That he's not making any more or less. He's just same deal for every time he shows up that they need him right now until they structure something. And I even wrote about that last year in early September or July. Well, I don't remember when it was, but it was about Cody not really being. None of the EVPs really having much to do with decision making other than just their EVPs in name, and they have their little assignments, But so that wasn't really surprising when it came out that he wasn't under an EVP deal either, because I was like, well, that makes sense being what I wrote, earlier in the year. But
and then what about with Jarrett and GCW? What's going to continue?
That I just think they're going to work that program more with Effie. It's nowhere near done. It'll be months, probably. It might culminate at spring break or somewhere along that way. That's cool. 2 more months of a program. But I think it'll be more with Effie, probably more with Allie, maybe too. I don't know. You never know. But I definitely think we'll get more Effie in him. I don't see him I don't know if he'll stick around to do more after Effie. This is probably just a prolonged Effie program. But we'll see. You never know.
Now, did he specifically want to work with Effie? Was that his choosing that he thought?
I don't know. I don't know which way that worked. But I know Effie probably. I would assume Effie picked out that program. If I had to just guess, I would say that was kind of his choice.
Genius, by the way.
Yeah, Effie's a business genius. He's one of the smartest people in wrestling I have ever spoke to. He's a friend of mine. I love the guy. He's a genius. He really is. He knows how to brand and market better than anybody else I know. Who else it's an independent wrestler that's not been signed to a company and has the clout that comes from one of the big 2 or 3 promotions, can make 6 figures on the internet as a wrestler, or not even, but on the wrestling just off what they do on the internet, really. You know what I mean? His, what he's branded himself with online, he's able to turn that around into a 6-figure a year, wrestling business for himself. And nobody really can do that other than people like him. So he's a genius, man. He's one of the best in the game. So yeah, he knows what he's doing. So this Jeff Jarrett program is good stuff. I love it. Honestly, I had a blast at it. And Jarrett was such a good heel in that whole match, the entire night.
When he choked, who was it?
Vlad.
Choked
Vlad. I was right by that. I was I was on the stage.
Vlad on the entrance, and I went, whoa, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another guy with the beanie hat on, is shaking his head, going,
Emil. That's my buddy Emil. Yeah, the announcer.
Yeah, he's like, you got nothing. And Jarrett's and now Jarrett's not stupid. Jarrett's listening to everything, and Jarrett looked like, from my point of view, he's smiling in the race. He had so much fun with it.
He had a blast
because you hear the intro, the accolades. He did this. He's this guy, and he's that guy. He's the last outlaw. He's coming out in the trench coat and the black cowboy hat and the badass theme. It's so different. And like I know fans want to hate Jeff Jarrett because he's not a GCW original and he was in WWE. But I was just like, God, I find it so hard to want to boo this guy. I mean, this guy is this. I met his mom years ago at a Lockdown pay-per-view in 2005. I actually sat next to her. Yeah, way back when I was on TV, and I said, and I realized afterwards she's like, yeah, I'm Jeff Jarrett's mom, and I met his sister. Very nice people, but it was like, I'm watching and I'm loving the entrance. I said, this is a sick entrance. I love the theme, and he took it in. Jarrett, it felt like
he loves wrestling. I interviewed him over the summer,
and his podcast is huge too. By the way,
I interviewed him before his podcast came out. It was like a couple months before it started, and he was talking to me about it offline. But yeah, he's so smart, man. He's so good with this too, and he loves it, man. He had such a good time. You could just, like you said, you could see it on his face.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like. The reactions the crowd was getting was everything he wanted. It was what the intention was to get, from the whole time, is to be like, oh, I'm the outsider. You're supposed to hate me. But at the same time, you want to love me because I'm Jeff Jarrett. You know what I mean? And he did good. He did good shit too. Like, I loved him whipping the referee with the belt.
Oh man, the ring with the guy on the ring, and that came out of left field. I don't know.
Yeah, the guy outside too. Whoever was outside, the ring crew guy. Yeah, he was just lashing people. It was good, man. It was all good.
Oh, it was awesome. But it was good stuff. But
that's what I was saying. They just do such good things, bringing in guys like that. Like Nostalgia Pops, and working programs with them that aren't just like embarrassing displays of trying to bring in a former guy, and then he just does something horrible, and you're like, we tried. But no, they do it well. The guys can still work. They get great stuff out of them, and everything they deliver with all those. And that's very, very far. It doesn't happen often in wrestling, I mean, you see, but they even like the Virgil thing was fun when they Vincent when they brought him out.
Yeah, that was great.
He used him right. They used people correctly. You know what I mean? There's ways to do it, and they do things like that correctly. You know what I mean? They didn't try to have him get out in the ring and do something, because then you would have been like, oh, man. But they did just enough with him to where you're like, oh, shit. Oh, that's awesome. But
it's even like when they were doing, and I'll let Lyle go after this, but even when they were doing the Moxley Gage match for the championship, I believe it was, they had Mick Foley come there just to make an appearance. Like, they knew Mick couldn't wrestle. So it's almost like Brett knows, okay, we're going to let you make an appearance, but you're not going to wrestle. Whereas Jeff Jarrett, okay, he's in great shape. He can still wrestle, and put him in the ring and make it that way. Like, it's just like little niches like that go a long way in making a company really rally around you, because you're making the proper right decisions, rather than like what WWE does, not to crap on their pants, but I mean, it is what it is. They crap on their own pants. You're constantly bringing in Goldberg every freaking time and doing a spear and a jackhammer. Like, I mean, it's just not going to get over well, and it's just nostalgia.
Also, you can't really blame Goldberg for that, because, dude, like, they get told what they can and can't do in those matches by their producers. Yeah. It's not like
of course,
they could be like, I want to do this 30-minute, I want to pull everything out. And they're like, no, you can't do that, because half those moves are called for other guys throughout the rest of the night. So, you know what I mean? They do shit like that. And it's like, what do you mean I can't do this kind of suplex? Like, nope, that's somebody else's. So, they work with what they can get, and it's not really Goldberg's fault. I mean, I think he could do, if you had Goldberg come in and do like a program anywhere else, like he would do so much different. Like, than what he gets when he does WWE. So that's, like you said, that's WWE crapping on their own pants, not really the fucking wrestler coming in and shitting themselves.
Exactly. So it's literally, but I'll let Lyle go now.
Now there was someone who was missing from that GCW show to me, who I think should have been there. And that was Jungle Boy. Out of all the AEW guys that they sent, they didn't send Jungle Boy. Probably one of the biggest stars today, who was from GCW.
I wouldn't be expecting a lot more AEW people being sent. I wouldn't hold my breath for a lot more AEW talent coming over in the future.
Is there a reason why?
Oh, maybe. We'll talk about that later. I don't want to get myself to say here.
Again,
there's some things I think.
Got the private chat thing,
That's the private chat thing. We'll talk in that private chat about that. But yeah, I was kind of. It was kind of some people kind of expressed to me that, like, you know, you might not expect a whole lot more of this going forward. So you still got Mox with the belt, Thunder Rosa's showing up, but these are also people that can do. They have a lot more freedom to do whatever they want. But yeah, I mean, other than that, like Marco, I don't think you'll be seeing Marco too much in AEW anymore. You know, he put his post up saying, "I'm expecting all bookings going forward."
That. Yep.
And a lot of those guys that are no longer on AEW TV that were there from the beginning that you haven't seen, apparently the word is they're not coming back, and it's not their fault, but just Tony moving on with other people and moving in other directions. So a lot of the guys that you used to see coming over, like your Jungle Boys and but obviously he's investing in Jungle Boys, got a title on him, and he's on TV every week. So I don't think he wants his guys coming over and getting hurt elsewhere, which happened a lot with some of your guys like Marco and stuff like that. I don't know if this is a fact. I would just have to assume that, like, as from a business perspective, you know, you can't have your top guys going and getting hurt and costing yourself months of TV time, possibly. So, yeah, you know, I mean, from a business perspective, I don't think I would expect a whole lot more of your big guys coming over. Maybe your lower end guys, if they can get booked and work, but you know. Jungle Boy was missing, like you said, because he came from there, but he's also not one of the guys I think that Tony's gonna allow just to go and do these things. Moxley, he's different situation, and he came in there for Gage, which I was honestly surprised. I fully expected Mox to drop the belt to Homicide this weekend, honestly, but that Gage coming back thing changed everything because I'll drop some news on that one. That wasn't booked until 2 days before the pay-per-view. They sat down with Gage and had a meeting 2 days before the pay-per-view and worked out him coming back because there was some stuff there, and Gage wasn't even going to be in Hammerstein.
Well, I know I spoke to you about that, and you told me that not to expect him.
Yeah, like at the time, don't expect him because he wasn't coming. But I got some info on that 2 nights before the pay-per-view, and I don't know if that was 2 nights before Saturday's event or 2 nights before Sunday's, but Thursday or Friday they sat down, worked it out, and that's when Gage came back. So that's why you got Gage. I mean, that was going to obviously be your main event now, Gage coming back. So now that you have Gage coming back, you have to figure out how to work him in. So that's why he became the mystery partner for the belts there. I think Briscoes were dropping anyway, you know, but I think that it just worked out that since that's why, you know what I mean? Like that's why they put that at the end for Gage. But, you know, there was some stuff there too. But yeah, Nick Gage. I mean, how could it have been a GCW show without Nick Gage? Like that would have been tough. You know, that was a big deal. But yeah, I'm glad they worked that out.
The biggest GCW show in history, and I have one of the faces of your brand. And I had an argument with a fan about it on Twitter the other day, saying they could still move on without Nick Gage being there. And I said, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, Nick Gage to me is GCW. And if you're going to do the biggest GCW show in the history of the company and not have the face of your company there, that kind of has a bad look because then that shows to me that apparently, I don't know if it's something that him and Brett were going through, but they had to put their differences aside for that night because this was too big of a moment for this company to not have him a part of that show. And I asked, I actually tweeted Effie about it. Effie just liked the comment. He didn't comment on it afterwards, but I actually asked Lyle. I said to Lyle, I don't hear anything about Nick Gage coming on the show.
He wasn't mentioned because of that reason. Yeah, it was a do not mention Nick Gage situation too.
I don't know if you could say the reason you told me.
I'm not gonna say it on the air, but yeah, you can tell them off the air what I told you about why. You know, I mean, it's go look at his Instagram videos. Just go look at his Instagram videos from the July 1st, talking about knowing your worth and stuff like that. I kind of think that gets a good paints a good picture of what the issue was about.
Go for it, Alex.
So my next question is an AEW question, and in 2 weeks we are having Hangman Adam Page against Lance Archer in a Texas death match for the
not in Texas, by the way, too.
Yes, not in Texas. And for the AEW,
they also have beach break in Cleveland where it's 10 degrees outside. So
yeah, it was freezing there. Do you like the idea of having Hangman and Lance Archer in this type of match stipulation, or would you change it to something else?
I mean, the stipulation is cool. The name's kind of dumb, being that it's not in Texas. But, you know, it could be like a boardwalk brawl because it's in Atlantic City or something instead, and it'd be the same match. But, you know, whatever. Yeah, you know, there's a lot. It's obviously just a program to get him over to who's next into the pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Like, till they build up what that's going to be.
And I don't think they're going to have Hangman drop the title to Lance Archer. I think they're
Yeah.
going to stick with Hangman, but I feel like it might go to a point where somebody gets involved in the match so that both are put over at the same level.
Yeah, I think it's a good. The reason this match to do it with that is because you're going to get Lance Archer they're going to beat the shit out of each other. So Lance Archer is going to take a beating. The crowd's going to like it. Hangman's going to prevail after taking a beating and giving out a beating. Hangman looks strong. Archer's not going to look like weak because of what ends up happening, like that. So it's a safe way to book it without really hurting anybody. You know what I mean?
Without killing anybody. So
yeah, without killing anybody. So yeah, it's a safe booking. Other than just like I said, the name's pretty dumb. I could get it. I could get it if it was in Texas, but like I get Archer's from Texas, so cool, but whatever.
I mean, I'm just trying to figure out the beach break thing. I mean, if they've ran enough shows in Florida, you're telling me that they can't run like a spring break kind of show if it's called beach break and they're in 10 degrees in Cleveland? I don't know what
they even filmed the vignettes on Jacksonville Beach.
Exactly. Right? They ran enough shows in Florida, Cassidy. You're telling me you could have one. Now
they're coming back in a month. They'll be in Jacksonville on the 2nd of March.
I mean, it's called beach break, and then they got Tony Schiavone talking to Team Taz.
And 10-degree weather.
5 degrees outside, and they're freezing, and it's like, but these are going to be my last 2 questions, and I'll let these guys finish up and let you run. I know you're very busy. One, when can we? I don't know if you'll have to say it. The Briscoes are my favorite tag team on the planet. They always have been. When can we expect them to because I'm so sick of guessing with these guys every single freaking week.
Mm-hmm.
Because I personally think with the whole Lee Johnson and Brock Anderson match, I feel like that's such like a squash match for FTR to win. I feel like that's a match where like you can have the Briscoes kind of show up and screw them over. I'm so sick of guessing. When can we expect them to show up?
We know it won't be during that one because that was taped Wednesday night, and that would have already leaked out that if they showed up during that for Rampage tomorrow night. So we won't get it tomorrow night.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So it's like that would have been the perfect way for them to debut, I think. But I'm like, so when can we expect them to show up? And 2, what are your expectations for the Royal Rumble tomorrow night? Because you look at the card, it looks like a solid card. It doesn't like Rollins, Reigns, Brock, Bobby, the Rumble matches. But then again, you have like WWE always tends to they take these massive cards and they make it big letdowns. Mm-hmm. So the first one about the Briscoes and joining AEW, when to expect it, and 2, are we going to wait for Revolution to have this match with FTR? And 2, what are your expectations for the Royal Rumble tomorrow? And who are you picking to win the men's and the women's Rumble match?
All right, cool. So Briscoes, when would I expect them? I've been expecting them any time, especially when I saw them drop the belts. I was like, oh, cool, they dropped the belts Saturday, so I expect them, or Sunday. I would expect them Wednesday.
They're my favorite tag team. I need them on AEW as soon as possible.
But as far as when, like I said, I was expecting them soon, and now I'm not really sure. They could push it off a little longer. And I would say if they're going to have a match with FTR, you do that at the pay-per-view. So,
but they are signed, right, Cassidy? They are signed.
I've heard they signed a while back. I'd heard they signed a couple months ago, probably right after the Ring of Honor.
That's
stuff
what we heard. Also,
I'd heard that, and I'd heard Brody King too, and I knew that one too because I reported that one because I actually saw Brody King at a GCW event and after the show, and I was like, "What are you doing here?" And he was like, "I just came to see friends." I was like, "Interesting," but I asked him to chop me too. I was like, "Can you just go ahead and chop me for the show?" And he was like, "Well, probably not right now during Max Caster's concert, but we'll do it later." And then we just never got around to it. I like with the when to expect them thing. Like I had 4 sources tell me at the beginning of the month, like Moxley's coming back, expect him. And I'd even got the GCW card leaked to me from a source not even in GCW before Wrestle Kingdom, and everything that was on it ended up happening except for the Briscoes match because I had gotten told it was Briscoes' second gear crew and Mansour's return was going to be for that. So Mansour returned, but he didn't return in that because they had to switch it up with Nick Gage coming back. Man, that was going to be your match. So when Nick Gage came back, they had to work all that shit around. But so I reported that Moxley was coming back because there's a little thing on the thing I got leaked to Asterisk. It's like we can't announce the main event of Homicide Mox until he makes his AEW TV return. And then that same week, I got told he's coming back. He's here. We expect him here from like 3 or 4 people. and then he didn't show up. I reported it and he didn't show up. And then they waited another week and he didn't show up. And I'm like, damn, they might have done it just because it leaked out. And then GCW just went ahead and announced it because, like, dude, we got 9 days until their pay-per-view. We got to announce our world title match. You know, we got to sell these pay-per-views. And then they did it before he showed up on.
And then AEW had him return.
They had to do it. So, I mean, it wasn't like everybody that was pissed about GCW was spoiling his return. Man, they gave him every chance they could get. Like, the match was booked. They knew he was coming back. It's up to AEW to get it out if they didn't want him to spoil it. Like, I mean, GCW waited within almost a week before their pay-per-view to announce their world title match. They tried to wait, you know. So I really don't know when to expect it because same with Brody King. Like, that was supposed to happen a week before. I was expecting that to happen. Where was that in
Newark?
The week that's where he came back, right? That's when he actually
debuted. He came at the next week, I think it was.
Yeah. So the one that when it was supposed to happen was the night. I was told it was the night that the lights went turned off and all that stuff, and then nothing happened there. And Phoenix got hurt. And then they teased it for the next week, and it didn't happen too. So there's like some delaying going on with that. It's like I don't really know if you can expect things when they're supposed to, because like even Aleister Black teased that, or Malachi Black teased that one, right? He said, "Hey, it'll be revealed on Wednesday," and then nothing happened. So. And
then what about the Royal Rumble? What are your expectations? Who are you picking in the men's match and the women's match?
Oh, I don't have a clue in the women's match, honestly, other than maybe Ronda Rousey if she comes back, because that's the big.
I've been told. Return. I've read she's flying to St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to have her come back. It would make sense. She's got to be ready. You have her under contract still. They need her.
They desperately need her.
It would make sense.
Nobody left. I mean, Becky's got nobody left on that roster.
No, and they had less than 20 names under contract, right? And that's not even that's 2/3 of the slots to fill on the match.
And they spoiled like half the surprises. Like Lita's coming back. I'm like, what are we doing?
Well, I understand them doing that kind of too because they feel like they might sell more views. I think if
because it's in such a big place. That's what I'm thinking.
It's in such a big place. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably why they're doing Reigns Rollins, and Bobby Brock is a match that everybody's wanted to see for years
for
now.
A long time.
That should be a banger of a match, right, Cassidy?
That's gonna be and I hope they let Brock do like a different type of work rate than like he was when he was just Paul Heyman's like body slam or suplex city guy, you know what I mean? Because he can work a match. Like Brock Lesnar can go, dude. Like it sucks to see him like handcuffed and everybody be like, "Oh, I hate Brock Lesnar matches because all he does is the same 3 things." That's not Brock Lesnar's fault, you know. No. That's the match producer's fault that puts these matches together and tells them what they have to do and what they want them to do, you know. So it's not like they get to go call it in the ring. You know, Brock Lesnar doesn't get to go call a match in the ring, unfortunately, you know, unless he's working with somebody where they get to make that decision. You know what I mean? Like a Randy Orton gets to call his matches in the ring, or Edge probably gets to call his matches in the ring and stuff like that. But you know, like I expect that to be.
Match, you think?
I would hope like an AJ Styles or something like that because you separate him from Omos and you need somebody kind of new, fresh, and in there, and he doesn't really have anything going.
No, he really doesn't.
Program. So I would hope like that. I like AJ Styles, but you know that's another one that's kind of flat too. Like, what are you going to do there? I mean. I would like Big E to get a chance to get his to get a fair shot back too, because damn, like that sucked.
They got to sell match. 2 nights, Cassidy in Dallas and Jerry World. I mean, they got to sell. They're literally doing what is it like buy one get one free now? They can't sell them. Mm-hmm. They just. So, I mean, it's a struggle.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the 2-night pay-per-view events myself. Wrestle Kingdom was struggle, but Royal Rumble though. But yeah, like I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the 2-night thing. I think you could get it done in one, but I get why they do it because they like money. So,
Lau, go for it, man.
So a while back, there was a rumor that Kairi Sane's contract was going to be coming to an end.
It wasn't a rumor. Her contract was coming to an end. Like that was a thing. Yeah.
And I remember back when AEW was first starting, Kenny Omega said he wanted her. Is there any chance she does come back to America or comes to AEW? Have you heard anything about that?
Last I had heard, she was happy in Japan, and that's why she went back anyway to be with her family because she's married and has people over there. But I mean, once her contract's up, I mean, she can go anywhere, and if it's all about what she's, she probably was burnt out being in America. You know what I mean? And the work schedule for here is a little different for AEW than it is for working for WWE. You know, you can come in and work one day a week basically, and then come. That's it. So I mean, it's a lot easier, a lot less strenuous travel schedule for people, but that is coming from out of the country. And you see like Pac and pack like that affects him. You know, I mean, he only comes in for a couple blocks and then he goes home for a while and then he comes back. So, because that's a lot of travel and that's expensive. So, unless she moves or is over here for extended periods of time, like I don't see it being. I mean, because you see how they just rotate some of their Japanese people through that they have under contract originally too, and then they go back. So, hey, I don't know. I mean, nothing's impossible. I mean, it is definitely probably in the realm of a possibility, but you'd have to see if it's worth it for them to be able to afford to bring her in, however that she wants to do it. Like if she doesn't want to move, like can they afford to bring her in like regularly international travel? I don't know. I really don't know. It's all speculation on my end on that one. I haven't heard anything other than just what you guys have heard. You know that her contract is actually up, and that she went back home to be with family and ambassador role, which they took that pretty much away. And she wasn't happy with that because it was supposed to be NXT Japan was supposed to be there, and she was supposed to start working with that too, right? And that's kind of fallen through. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure the WWE thing left a sour taste in her mouth. So, I mean, she might not be quick to run back, to another company. So,
happens to everybody who goes to WWE. You leave and it's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, well, I mean, or there's people though that really like it too. I mean, because some people resigned. Sami Zayn resigned, Kevin Owens resigned. So for some people though, I mean, they dig it, they like it, and it's the safe way to support your family. But for others, it's not. So
go for it, Alex.
So my next question is a WWE question. So Roman Reigns has held the Universal title for 515 days now. Who do you think ends his streak? Do you think it's Seth Rollins, or do you think somebody comes along and challenges him in time for WrestleMania, such as The Rock or John Cena?
Seth Rollins would be cool, but unfortunately, I probably think it's going to be Brock Lesnar. I think they'd probably do I think they do a belt unification deal. Honestly, I think that's your WrestleMania match, belt versus belt.
That's pretty cool.
That'd be a good match.
About time.
Yeah,
this Universal Championship nonsense.
I don't know, because I'd heard that was the match anyway, Brock Roman, for a while. So I mean, they were going to do it before, then he got sick, so now they split him up. So why even bother doing this? Why bother putting the belt on him if you're not going to work it back to the match anyway? And if so, what's the point in having it? I don't know. I think that's what I think. It'll be belt versus belt between the two.
Unless Heyman screws him.
True.
Lau, you have anything you want to ask, or Alex, you guys have anything you want to ask Cassie before we let him run and go do his thing?
But I will say this about WWE booking. You can't ever fucking plan it, man. Like they ripped that script up. They ripped that script up the day of. The writers will write that shit.
Shows, Cassidy, 5 minutes before the show starts.
So I mean, you can't really guess and plan like what's going on. They can't even like this. Could you imagine being in a job where your job is to plan long-term stories and you turn stuff in, you write something
and then
based on
just
what you have. What you have, what you write and turn in here affects what you've written or have in mind for weeks. And then they scrap it the day that you turn it in and get told to redo it. And this is what
how many times, Cassie, do we see right before a Monday Night Raw, an hour before the show, they have nothing planned yet? There's nothing planned yet. But we're going live in an hour.
Way too many.
Too many times. And who do you blame that on? Is it? And people complain that it's the writer's fault. Is it?
No.
Is it?
No.
How do we know? How do we know? We don't see what the writers are actually writing.
We have a culprit who we blame on this show plenty. I mean, we won't say his name. It's like Voldemort.
I will.
I feel like you show up.
Oh, yeah, we all know. It's necessary, and that's what this all comes down to in AEW, too. There is no creative team. Everything goes through Tony. So in WWE, it's the same thing. Even though there's a creative team, everything goes through Vince. So, I mean, what's the point? I mean,
And also the creative team lately, Cassie, it's been a revolving circle, right? Like you've seen guys going off and new guys are coming in, and then they have ads all the time on Indeed and stuff about being a creative writer on WWE. But it's like, how could you even keep that job long term when guys are having a job for 2 months and they're getting let go?
You can't. And I think a lot of they do reactionary hirings and firings based on like numbers on stocks and on like people's opinions online. Like they hired that one person because she wasn't from a wrestling world and was a writer from the outside. And then when that was what they saw after, they were looking for that. And it was in there like no outside wrestling experience needed. Like, so obviously they were looking for that. And then the internet found out and they made a big deal about it and they fired her the next day.
Oh, she said something. That's right.
Yeah, she said
in
something.
an
She's like,
interview.
"Well, I don't." She was honest. Like, I didn't have a wrestling background. I don't know who these people are.
Yeah.
I'm new. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Like, she can write stories for wrestling without being from the wrestling industry. You got to work with her though. You got to teach her things. You got to help her. And instead, they fired her. But it's funny. Like, they sought that out. They're like, we want somebody from the outside because maybe that's what we need. And then the internet didn't like it. And they're like, you're gone, fired. We fixed it. We fixed it, guys. We fixed it, guys. She's gone. And then it's the same shit. So it had nothing to do with her at all. So it's the system, and if the system is broken, the system is broken.
Cassie, we're
Fuck
running
the system.
we're running short on time, and we're gonna let you run. We know how busy you are,
Guys,
my man.
I
Thank
appreciate you
so
having me
much.
on. And
no, man, thanks for coming on with us, and we got to get you on in the future again for sure.
And we gotta talk some shop, man. I realized after when I was searching for the email link, you guys had talked. I know you guys have sent me emails. I didn't follow up with you. I sent them to somebody else to follow up, and I don't think they ever did. So let's talk some shop one day, man. I'd love to have you guys on more body slam stuff with me.
Absolutely,
I'd be more happy to have you guys
We'd love
on.
To come on. And before we let
This
you
is
run,
this is it. This is your open invitation. This is to join the team. If you guys want, we'll talk some shop. I would love to have you guys on and run the show through us, and we'll help promote and cross promote. So it's up to you guys.
100%.
Had a blast. Just let me know. We'll do more
Cassidy,
stuff
how
together.
can the fans reach out to you as well? Social media.
A
wonderful show that you have.
Right here on social media at Casshole, CASSHOOOLE, because I am Cassidy and I am an asshole, so I'm a Casshole. So Casshole. So that's me. You can find us that's me on everything. So if you want to find me on anything like social media wise, it's pretty much that. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, like you can find me there. Body Slam Net on everything as well, on our Twitter, on our Instagram, on our Facebook. You can find our pages that way. Go to the website, bodyslam.net. We got podcasts dropping all the time. Go to our YouTube channel, guys. We got stuff there. We're on all our audio platforms too. Just search for bodyslam.net interviews and podcasts. You'll find us all. Guys, I had a blast. Thank you.
Cassie, we're going to stay in touch with you. We're going to reach out to you again. We're definitely going to talk about more. We'll talk.
Let's do it. I can't wait, man. I enjoyed it.
100%. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. Have a good night. All right, boys?
Thanks, guys.
Have a good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, the owner of bodyslam.net. I mean, he had to have probably been, that might have been one of the, if not the best guests I think we've ever had on this show, possibly.
We say that all the time. Every now and then.
No,
he
I
was the best.
No. I know we say that, but it's like this was, I mean, he gave us.
No, he was great. I met him in person. I've talked to him a bunch of times in DMs. He's probably one of the nicest people that I have ever spoken to in the wrestling industry. Him and Alba are great to talk to. They're great people.
Oh, 100%. Lyle, you and I, we met John Alba at the Grand Slam show. Yes, we did. And he actually was texting me to try to find me on the line just to come and talk to me. Which I was baffled. I'm like, you're trying to find me? Like, he went up the bridge area to go.
I have to say, our best interview could be coming up because I know you emailed him, right? You did email him.
I did email them.
No, not you, Josh.
Oh, yes. Yes,
you emailed him the email I told you to.
Yes,
recently?
yes, you did. Yes. It's in the works.
Did he respond?
Not yet. I literally just did it probably last night. You know,
okay.
I had my kid, so it's like
okay. Yeah, no problem. But I spoke to a former guest, Leah Rush.
Well, now I wrote it in the chat.
I'm going to say it. I spoke to him at after the GCW show by ringside, and he said he was down to come back on and just have to email him. And
there's a lot we need to discuss with him.
Yeah,
so much to discuss with him.
And honestly, honestly, the thing about Leo is that I love about him is that he's an open book, and he doesn't give two wits about it. He'll tell you what he's feeling, and he doesn't give a damn.
He's straight to the point.
But he's honest. He doesn't care if it's going to get him in trouble. He doesn't care. Like this is his platform to discuss his, because Leo's. Let's be real here. In the last couple of years, Leo's been in about WWE, NXT, New Japan, AEW, MLW, GCW. He's been in 6 promotions.
Yep.
The last 3 years. That's insane.
Yeah, it is insane.
It's crazy. I mean, and he's doing a rap album. And he has another kid, so it's But I know we're cutting on time here. Really quick, 10 seconds, Alex. Really, who are you picking for the Royal Rumble?
I'm gonna say AJ Styles.
AJ Styles for the men, and who for the women?
For the women, I would pick probably Ronda or Becky if she's in it.
Lyle, men and women.
If you asked me last week about the women, I would have said Liv Morgan. But because the Ronda stuff came out, I'm going to say Ronda. But for the men, I'm going to say Seth Rollins.
So you think Seth is going to lose his match to Roman and then come back in the
Well, he was rumored to be winning, to be beating Big E. So
yes.
I think he could be doing that. Yeah, it's happened before. They used to do that all the time.
I'm going to say women. I'm going to say Ronda. I think it's Ronda. I think they have to have Ronda because let's be real here. These tickets are not selling.
No, they're not selling enough.
They need to have a big star.
Yeah, they do.
The men one is very intriguing. Because there's so many routes you could go. Seth, like Lyle said, you could go AJ, like Alex said, and Cassidy said. So you could go Big E. You could go if you want to go Drew McIntyre again. You could go if Brock loses. You could go Brock. Because if Heyman screws over Brock in his match against Lashley, you could go Lashley winning the Rumble. You could have somebody come back.
Well, there is a rumor that somebody is coming back who hasn't.
You could have Okada win. No, I'm just kidding.
Where did you hear that? Out there.
I know. That's why I made the joke. That's why I made the joke, and I'm not going to. I'm not outing them.
No, do it.
No.
Do it. If it's fucking Ringside News, I want to laugh.
That's exactly who it is. That's why I said what I said.
You can always out Ringside News.
I know that because they suck.
Literally a meme.
I know. Well, we are getting short. We're not going to be able to do our finish. All right. Finishing move. Each of you got 10 seconds. Alex, go. 10 seconds. Go. Finishing move.
So my finishing move is AEW Rampage. I'm excited for the Jon Moxley Anthony Bowens match because it's in John Moxley's hometown.
Okay, there you go. Love it. Lyle, you're up.
I just want to take a minute to say thank you to Cassidy Haynes. I've been talking to him for a while on Twitter, trying to get him on. Thank you for taking time out of your day to come on here and talk to us. We had a blast, and can't wait to talk to you again in the future.
100%. We're definitely going to talk shop for sure, and we're going to definitely try to cross promote with him. There's no ifs or buts about it. I think all of us, we're going to make that decision right here. It's a no-brainer. For me, first off, again, with Cassidy, too, big shout-out to GCW. GCW, had a nice show this weekend. I think there's definitely more big shows in the future for them. I'm curious if they go to different parts of the United States, if they could do different things. We'll see. As Cassie said, they could do bigger arenas. So shout out to them. And also, hopefully the Royal Rumble doesn't suck this weekend. So there's that too.
Spoiler. Never go into a WWE show
having high expectations.
Have high expectations. The show is going to suck.
Yeah,
it is.
Well, really quick before we go, here's how you can listen to us every single Friday and other shows as well. Download our app. If you have an iPhone, go to the Apple Store, type in WWSRN. If you have an Android, go to the Google Play Store, type in Worldwide Sports. We're also on worldwidesportsradio.com, and on that app, it's free. Get our show schedule, our articles, re-listen to the show, re-watch it. If you're driving, listen to the audio feed. If you have a smart speaker, you can also have it done there too. We're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, every single social media platform. Alex, 5 seconds, do the website.
Off the Mat website is in our Twitter bio. You click on the link, you get access to our show archive, special guest interview page, a contact us page, and upcoming pay-per-view and show page for all the big wrestling shows happening this month.
Good stuff, Alex. Listen, Lyle, Alex, and of course, Speedy Petey, as always, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Weapons Hot is coming up next right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network with CJ and all of those guys. No, you're wrong. It's 6:50. Sorry. No. Remember, didn't we say we were
I said that 5 minutes ago. Damn it.
Geez, talk about me lagging shit. We're going to let CJ and the boys take over from here on out. For Alex Lowe's, for Lyle Gillen, for Speedy Petey, I'm Josh Silver. Thanks to Cassidy Haynes again. This has been Off the Mat on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Enjoy SmackDown tonight. Enjoy Rampage tonight. Enjoy the Royal Rumble this weekend. Enjoy all the wrestling next week. We'll talk to you then. Until then, everybody, take care. Have a good night. Stay safe in New York. Don't go outside tomorrow. It's going to be snowing a lot. Kenny Omega, what do you have to say? Good night, everybody.